Hi everyone, this is Sandy from Talk of Thailand again. Right behind me you can see Soy Bacau, which at this time of the evening would normally be fairly busy with people out to enjoy their evening, going to one of the eateries or one of the bars, or making the way down to LK Metro and the real nightclubs, etc. But as you can see, it's raining, and we need this rain here in Pattaya, and it does affect businesses quite badly. This is real monsoon stuff, this rain, very, very heavy, and it does tend to keep a lot of people indoors. However, this rain brings other problems that people are not so much aware of if they come here to Pattaya or to most places in Thailand. When it rains, wherever you are, it can create different problems that you might be completely not used to, and you should be aware of them. And that problem is snakes. You know, over the years, I've been asked many times by tourists and visitors here to Pattaya, are there snakes in Pattaya? And the answer to that is yes. And not only that, but there are lots of them. Here we are in rainy Soi 6, and as you can see, the poor girls are stuck inside and not out in the streets, and it doesn't matter because there's nobody walking the streets anyway, and the business is not so good right now. Obviously hoping that the rain is going to go off soon, and maybe they will get some business walking down the street. We'll see about that. But, you know, just 2 days ago, I came to this area with my wife, right behind these derelict buildings, or the very rundown buildings that these bars are situated in. Yes, the ground floors from the Soi 6 side look nice and all tarted up for the customers. But if you look at the building from behind, you can see how old and really run down the buildings really are. And in these bars, there's a lot of, in these buildings, there's a lot of empty rooms around about, and probably there's quite a few snake inhabitants up and down there. Anyway, the point I'm making is right behind these buildings, there's a big piece of wasteland that's being currently transformed into another tourist attraction, actually. And just 2 days ago, myself and my wife came down here to have breakfast at the Queen Vic Hotel here in Soi 6. Highly recommended, worth trying. It's the best value breakfast anywhere in Pattaya, I can assure you of that, and by a long way also. Very cheap and very fulfilling breakfast. Anyway, we came down to have our breakfast, and we parked on the wasteland behind us and walked round to the restaurant here in Soi 6. But when we were parking up and we were getting out the car, and it's a time I'm always particularly careful if we're not on a street, etc. Even on a street, if I'm stepping out to grass on the side, I'm always looking first before I put my foot out the car. I'm thinking snakes all the time when I'm walking around. Anyway, we parked in this car park at the back of the wasteland, and yes, we saw quite a large snake. I'd say it was maybe about well over a meter anyway, maybe a meter and a half. And it had the remains of some sort of animal hanging from its mouth. And it seemed to be completely ignorant of our presence. And we wanted it to stay that way. So we moved off in a different direction and left it there. Once again, wasteland, these are the sort of areas that you will see them also in places like hotel gardens, very popular, golf courses, parks, grassland, undeveloped land, etc. You will find snakes in these places. You will even find them in the city centre, in dark corners, in streets that aren't used too much by the tourists. So, but if you avoid off the main streets and go up some of these side sois, etc., just be aware of what you're doing. Of course, one of the other problems is that most tourists here Even myself, when I go out, most tourists will wear flip-flops or sandals. I like to wear sandals when I go out, which if you do come too close to a snake accidentally, they're not going to give you a lot of protection if it does strike. And it's just one of these factors. But the news isn't all bad, because snakes are not aggressive creatures. They're not going around Pattaya looking for tourists to attack. And they will try to avoid human contact wherever possible. The other question, obviously, I get from tourists and visitors here is, are the snakes poisonous? Well, that's a good question, actually, because we have a huge variety of snakes here in Pattaya, and they go from constrictors, which crush their prey, up to we've got snakes that are not venomous at all, and if they bite you, it might be a little bit painful or whatever, and it might even provide a sore. And we also get mildly venomous snakes, not too serious. But on the other hand, we do have some very seriously poisonous snakes around also. That if you get bitten by them, it's something that is to be worried about. And I wouldn't like to take my chances in getting a safe one or a dangerous one. Certainly not to be bitten by one anyway. The statistics say that in Thailand, there's about 25,000, there's 2,500 average deaths from snakes per annum, which I suppose for the size of Thailand and the population, etc., and all the people working in the jungle and the farms, it has to be understood as a reasonable. The only concerning statistic I saw was that they say that there's at least 10 foreigners statistically die each year from snake bites. And it's of interest to know that at this moment of time, Bangkok has a serious snake problem, so it's reported. In my time in Pattaya, I've heard of quite a few tourists being bitten by snakes, but I've only heard of 2 actual foreigners dying from snake bites here in Pattaya. And for the amount of tourists that come through the place, I suppose that's not a bad average. But I expect those 2 people that were killed and that died from the snake bites, maybe they would think they got the short end of the stick. So let's just talk about this rainy season for a moment. And this is when it becomes a good degree more dangerous than normal, when we've got the rain, because a lot of these snakes live underground. They live in the sewers and the drains, and maybe in the basements or areas that are very low down. And when it rains so torrentially and the drains are filling up rapidly and the sewers are filling up rapidly as well, which is another drawback slightly from Pattaya and Thailand, I suppose. They still have open sewage drains in some areas, and that can be swamped out in heavy rain as well. But it certainly brings the snakes above the ground while everything is full of water. And then you can see a lot more of them around the city. And it's a time that you should be particularly more conscious of what you're doing and keep your eyes open for this particular problem. So anyway, the rest of this video, I'm going to give you some tips, etc., how to take care of yourself in the event that you come here to Pattaya or anywhere in Thailand, and how to take care of yourself as far as snakes are concerned. I hope you enjoy.